Hello, I'm Emily, and these are my answers to my exam. First question. With a starting salary of $1,500,000 with an annual increase of $50,000, how many dollars would you get in 8 years? Now, this is an arithmetic question because we are adding. The equation we will use is n over 2 times a1 plus an. But we have no idea what an is, so we have to use the explicit formula. For the explicit formula, we have an equals a1 times n minus 1 times d. Plugging things in, we would have a8 for years equals 1,500,000 plus 8 minus 1 times 50,000. Which means a8 would equal 1,850,000. To plug everything back in, the sum would be 8 over 2, which would be 4, times 1,500,000 plus 1,850,000. Equaling 13,400 or 13,400,000. And that would be our last term, so that would how much money he would get. For this equation, we would have to use geometric terms because we are timesing it by 3. For geometric, we'd have to use Sn equals a1 times a1 minus rn over 1 minus r equaling 1.3 for the percentage, and a1 equaling 1,500,000 as the salary. Sn, if we plug everything in, it'd be Sn equals 1,500,000 times 1 minus 1.03 to the 8th power, again for years. And that would be over 1 minus 1.03, which would make us have $13,338,504.08. For this question, we will be using the geometric term because we are timesing times 7%. Again, we will be using the same equation as the one before, plugging in 1.07 for r and 1,300,000 for a1. 1,300,000 times 1 minus 1.07 to the 8th power over 1 minus 107, giving us $13,337,743.34. So in conclusion, the one with the most amount of money is the one that's $1,500,000 with an annual increase of $50,000. For this equation, we will use the arithmetic equation, n over 2 times a1 plus an. Again, we need to find the explicit term using an equals a1 plus n minus 1 times d. We use the arithmetic term because that is what was used with the beginning equation. For the equation, it's a10 equals 1,500,000 plus 10 minus 1 times 50,000, which would equal 1,500,000 plus 450,000, leading to a10 equals 1,950,000. Then we need to find the sum. So that would be 10 over 2, plugging everything in, times 1,500,000 plus 1,950,000. Or 5 times 3,450,000. So the total sum that this person would get is $17,250,000. Using the information from the question 2, I've come to the conclusion that I will be using y equals k over x. Mileage being x, finish that there. Gallons equaling y, and miles being k. So, y would equal 10,000 over x. Next, we have to use this in an equation. We don't have a set gallons, so I decided to use the number 500. So 500 equals 10,000 over x minus 50 because you are trying to save gas. So that'll leave us to 450 equals 10,000 over x. Now to get rid of it, we have to time x on both sides. And then divide 400 by each side to find what x is. So x would equal 22 as the mileage. Here's what that graph would look like. For question 2, they gave us a set mileage. We will be using y equals 10,000 over x, which will be 400 equals 10,000 over x. We times x on both sides, and then divide by 400 on each side, giving us 25 miles per gallon. For the next part of this equation, they wanted us to minus 50. So 400 minus 50 is 350. 350 equals 10,000 over x, timesing x on both sides, and then dividing 350 by both sides. This gives us the answer of 28 miles per gallon. You will notice that the older number, or the newer number, is bigger than the older. This is because this is an inversely equation. And here's what that graph would look like. Okay, for my last question, I chose question 4. So I have to take this circle, and it says, put 8 points on a line, which I did. How many triangles can I make using 3 of these points as vertical? Now, I could stand here all night and connect all these with, obvious complications, but instead, I think I'm just going to use some equations that I found using combinations. For this one, at first I picked NPR, but later on I realized that that wasn't right. So instead, I chose to do combinations, which was NCR. And the equation for that is N over R N minus R. So if I put all the things right, it'll be 8 over 3, 8 minus 3. Doing that equation, it should equal 4,320 over 6 times 1, 20. And that'll lead to 4,320 over 720, which equals 56. That's how many triangles you can fit in here. For the next question, I have to find how many pentagons I can put into the circle. A pentagon is a shape with 5 sides and 5 points. So, again, I'm going to choose NCR because this is a combination to see how many shapes I can fit into it. Again, the equation is N over R, N minus R. Fill it up with 8 because there are 8 points, over 5 because there are going to be 5 points I have to use, and then 8 minus 5. So that will lead us to 4,320 over 120 times 6 because 8 minus 5 is 3 and then 3 exclamation point is 6. So that'll go to 4,320 over, again, 720. See how I noticed that pattern? Which will leave us with, if you divide them correctly, it'll leave us with 56. And for that problem right after it, it's to tell you, or to explain how these two are the same. And it's because I used the same equation that I got the same answer of 56.